Hey guys, it's Liam, and this is Mobility with the AbilityBoss. Today we're discussing the Mobility Shuttles, Office of Disability Services, and the TapRide app to show how each work. Let's roll the tape.
This is the TapRide app. As you can see, this is the system that we use for the mobility shuttles. And so first you put in your pickup location, which we put in Connolly Circle, and then you put in your drop-off location, which is my dorm, Gallon, and then you hit submit. So now the ride is submitted and it's waiting for a driver to pick up the ride, which would be one of the two mobility shuttle drivers that are working at the time. And you can actually see where the vans are going at a specific time. So like right now, the mobility shuttle is at Jake Nevin, and they're gonna come down Ithan and swoop back around over to the Connolly Circle to pick me up. Also at the top of the screen, you can see the estimated time that it will take for that driver to get there. So usually it's around 5 minutes, which is why I put the ride in at 12:09, and the estimated time for pickup is 12:14. But it can range anywhere between 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. That's usually if a driver is going off campus. They do transports to physical therapy, to Bryn Mawr Hospital, really anything else that you would need to go off campus for if you need transportation for a mobility issue. So as you can see, they're coming, picking me up. And then once you're in the ride, it will show that the driver has picked you up.
Okay, sounds good.
My name's Dan Brennan. I'm the ADA wheelchair van driver, and I just want to say it's a pleasure to drive this young man. I've been here for going on 7 years now, and I really enjoy working with him.
Take
What's up? You gotta get
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm one of the mobility drivers here on campus. We drive around students who need help getting from their dorms to classes and back to their dorms whenever possible. And been here for about 3 years. Do a weekend to help.
Hey guys, Greg Hanna, Assistant Director of the Office of Disability Services, here with my man Liam, aka the AbilityBoss. Our time right now will be to talk about a couple quick things, to maybe give you some information about who we are, what we do, why we do it, things like that. First thing, ODS, Office of Disability Services. Our staff here does everything we can to provide a full college experience for any student of any ability. What that means is a student has to have documentation to support a need for our office to provide reasonable accommodations in the classroom, campus life, housing, transportation, or anything that could, kind of bring the Villanova experience together. Our job is to look at that documentation and work with the student to create the best plan possible for access and success here at Villanova.
So how would someone register with ODS?
Great question, Liam. How would someone register with ODS? First things first is having documentation so that when you come and schedule a meeting with a staff member, whether it's myself or Steve McWilliams, you'd be able to present information to us to allow us to evaluate it and provide an accommodations letter with reasonable accommodations. So first things first, a student should come to us with documentation to allow us to provide accommodations for the classroom and anything else Villanova has. Say a student comes and has nothing and they say, Greg, I've been experiencing this, or I went to a doctor and they said this. As long as they first come and meet with us, we can start to build a profile of who this student may be in regarding working with our office. Then the next thing is going to be documentation. But really as an office, we can't implement accommodations around campus and around the university if there isn't a medical professional who says that we need to support a student because of whatever the condition, permanent or temporary, might be too. Because also someone can break a bone, someone can get into a car accident, someone can hit their head doing the laundry on South and bang their head on the dryer and have a concussion. And then also there are students who might get diagnosed with a new condition while they're a student at Villanova. So a lot of things happen in our office in real time, but no matter how many times I say it, the documentation allows us to then bring a student on the roster where we register them officially. They get an accommodation letter from our office with instructions on how to share with faculty. And then if we have to open up the doors to any other partnerships, dining, housing, facilities, transportation, we take it step by step from there.
So what are a few examples of accommodations?
Another great question by the AbilityBoss. So examples of accommodations. So academically, whether it's extended time on assessments. So if someone has an exam and because of whatever the documentation might say, I'm not interesting, right? Your mask is just community first. You never know. That's an accommodation right there. Helping Liam with his mask when necessary. Back to accommodations. Time and a half, double time on testing. Whether it's a private testing space, if a reduced stress environment presents a better opportunity for a student to be successful. Those are a couple academic ones that we often see. From a housing one, if someone might need a private kitchen or a private bathroom, if someone needs help with transportation to get to and from places. I mean, if we're working with some of our students with visual impairments and have to enlarge certain fonts, or if we're working with some of our students with hearing impairments, especially in the COVID times with teaching with masks, having clear masks so a teacher can still instruct and so that student has the potential to read lips and still access the material. So there's a ton of accommodations in so many different realms, in so many different ways, but just to try to find a way to still provide an accessible education or an accessible experience on campus. All right, Right, so obviously a big part of this video has been talking about transportation. So from an office standpoint, a student like Liam, for example, could come to Villanova and say, Greg, everything sounds great, but I might need some support getting to and from certain classes at certain times. Not every class, not every time, but have the ability, if needed, to have a vehicle ready, inclement weather, whatever it might be, at a student's request. And over time, the Office of Disability Services and Public Safety have come together to try to help build a fleet of vehicles to provide various needs. So on one side, we have 2 ADA ramp vans, more like minivans with the center gutted out to allow motorized wheelchairs or scooters to get into the van and to allow our students to get transported to and from. So there's 2 vehicles that you'll see, whether it's the gray Dodge or the blue Honda currently, that will be going around campus. In addition to that, there's also what's called the mobility shuttle. The mobility shuttle, also with public safety, through use of the TAP Ride app, which you hopefully have learned about in this video, and students can be anywhere on campus, and if they're registered with the office, if they're not registered with the office, but have a need to be transported, can work with public safety and with the TAP Ride app to allow access to and from campus buildings. Those vehicles are separate than just the Wildcat shuttle. So there's our daily Wildcat shuttle, there's 3 current mobility vans that are going around campus, and there's 2 ADA vans. So plenty of transportation options, but it's about figuring out which one makes the most sense for you, and then also doing the things necessary to be in the TAP Ride app, to be approved by public safety, and to also be approved by the Office of Disability Services if you're going to use those vehicles. The good part is that it allows any student at any time the opportunity to get to and from a space on Villanova, hopefully in a timely fashion, but also allows safety and security to be at the forefront of transportation for our students.